and welcome to episode 324 of Sports on the Hill podcast. We have a live Caps game on, and it's still 0-0. You'll see on the upper part, if you're watching live on Twitch, there's a scoreboard. Right now it's a commercial break, so you can't see it, but it will be a scoreboard that will show the live score of it. I want to welcome in all the different people who joined us early. Welcome in, Lobas guy. I appreciate you joining us, and I appreciate you letting us know about the game audio. I'm sorry about that. We had a lot of technical difficulties to start the show, I'll be honest, and so that was one of them, but now it should be working correctly. We are joined live by the blue liner on point himself, Gil, and also the return of Anna Knox. Start off with you, Gil. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. It was a Monday, and yeah, technical difficulties. I can relate to that. But really glad to be here and do a live watch along, at least to the first period anyway. Once again, always fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it and I enjoy it a lot. Anna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I am on my winter break countdown. So nine
Oh
more days of
yes.
school. Good God, 9 more days. And even like some of my students today were just, kind of moody. And I was like, listen, we're all irritated. We're all trying to just get through the freaking holidays. So, be nice, get it together. Don't be a jerk.
Not a whole lot of gruntling going on. Sounds like it.
That word. No, I'm trying to get into that Christmas spirit, but I don't know. I will say I did call 2 out of 4 games. So
That you did.
I wasn't completely shocked, but I was whew, a little vomit in the mouth with that Vegas game. We'll just say that. Thank God Ryan Reeves isn't on that team anymore. I would have other things to say. Um, but yeah, so I'm excited. I like when we do the live games too, even though I'm always behind, but I like to see you guys. And then I could have a delayed yay.
Right. Well, at least now I'm on YouTube TV, so I'm not that far ahead. I assume that Gil is probably the farthest ahead of all of us. How much time is on your clock, Gil, on your screen?
Um, yeah. Well, it's not on my screen right now. I
Oh, you've
can
already
tell
gone
you.
to the commercial break that I haven't gotten to yet. So there you
Okay.
go. So
So okay, so I got it back. They decided to display it back. It's 11:57 remaining. Caps just went to the got a penalty. Nicholas
extra.
Obey
Big Kubel.
Kubel
Yeah,
for
extra.
tripping.
That's stupid.
If it's not him, it's Kuzi. If it's not Kuzi, it's him. And since Kuzi's sitting, yeah, well, but to get everybody up to speed, 5-0 shot advantage for the Caps. They've already had one power play chance. They look pretty good. Ice is tilted to the Coyotes' end. So if they keep it up, I think they'll do very well. But yeah, they're at the mullet tonight. And if you're watching the game and you see of course, the Trident Golden Fork logo on the left-hand side at center ice, that of course is emblematic of Arizona State University, alma mater of my good friend Pete Fisher, who's live at the game.
Nice.
Hi, Pete.
I actually just added the live.
Oh man.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh, Arizona looks like they just got a power play goal.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, you're definitely way ahead of me. I am still 120, and now I see it. All right. That's unfortunate.
Uh,
So, uh, yeah, well, it sucks to start that way. All right, well, let's get into the week that was real fast. We have a special guest, Andrew Tran, who'll be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to go quickly through the West Coast one. I'll go through the scoring of the first game real fast, and then I'll have Gil go through the scoring of the next two games, and then I'll have Gil quickly go through the scoring of the Vegas game, but then we'll get Andrew's story about going live to the game as well. So, the first game against the Sharks, which I thought was going to be the easiest one to win of the week, started off poorly. They scored in the first period to make it 1-0. In the second period, Kuzi had his bright spot of the week, where he scored his fourth of the season, assist by Trevor Van Riemsdyk, his fourth, and Martin Favari his third. assists, and so it tied at 1-1, and things were looking good into the third. I thought that Marcus last week might be right. He said stay up for this one because we're gonna pile it on and win by more than 2. So it's like, and I said, I hope they don't keep it close and then lose in the third period, and then I'm frustrated because I stayed up so long. Unfortunately, I was correct in how this game was going to go, and they scored a power play goal, 12:48 into the third, and they win that game 2-1. Very frustrating to watch after a really fun podcast that we had. Anna, what are your thoughts on the Sharks game?
You know what? To be honest, when it comes to those West Coast games and assuming like, oh, we're just gonna, kick ass and whatever, it's just never good to go into it like that. And that's why I truly felt like we were to go 2 out of 4. And I didn't know who it was. I didn't care who it was. But I just felt like as soon as of what I saw, the highlight was, they just didn't have it in them. It wasn't definitely not 60 minutes. We really haven't seen that, I feel like, in a while. And this was kind of a blow to the ego for sure, considering who they were playing.
Yeah, for sure. Gil, your quick thoughts on this one?
I think the effort was definitely there. I wasn't disappointed with that. I think that unfortunately what doomed them was they took a bit too long to actually get going in this game. Unlike tonight, although they're already behind 2-0 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say even the scoreboard got it faster than my TV did. Yeah, so unfortunately, at almost the 10-minute mark, they get their second goal already. So our curse of our teams that I like continues. Except last week we actually got a basketball win, which was rare, but it's not looking good for us here in this one.
Robbie, not to bust your chops too much more, and I don't know if you got a chance to listen to our latest episode. We did mention you a couple times, actually, but when I mentioned to my wife that we were doing a watch along for the first period, she was like, "Oh God, no." Because she knows what usually happens to our teams when we do that.
Yeah, I know. It's really depressing. It's been true of this podcast in all sports. I usually like to try to do pregame shows because that usually works out better. At least it did in the Stanley Cup run. So at least we didn't jinx them too much. But I can't control when the Caps play, unfortunately. So they're playing during my podcast time, the way I look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. All right. Let's just move on because I like the other games better. Do you want to go through the scoring of this Kings game? It didn't start off good, but I'm happy for the guys who's I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah. So the Kings game, wow. You talk about an anomaly. My God. Well, I mean, there were only 3 goals. Thank God the Caps got 2 of them, but I don't know. They need to consider themselves lucky. As I'm pulling up the summary here, so Kings actually jumped out to 1-0 lead. Kaliev, his 5th from England and Spence, and then Anthony Mantha ties it up 3 minutes later at 12-12. McMichael and Protas, that line would reign supreme this game as they would score again at 18:30 of the second, which would turn out to be the game winner. And then about 10 minutes into the final period, the Capitals decided that they would develop a strategy of not exiting their own zone and letting the fog build up at the other end of the ice in front of the Kings goalie. And they figured they could win the game by staying in their own zone, let the Kings have their way, which almost backfired on them. I'm being facetious, of course, but I mean, if you saw that game, that's pretty much what happened. I don't think the Caps actually left their own zone more than once in the last 11 minutes of that game. And they really ought to consider themselves lucky that Charlie Lindgren was more than up to the task and up to the challenge and in saving everything that came his way and more. He really was, aside from that third line, he really was the number 1 star of that game by far. So they run away with that, get out of LA with the 2 points, but it could have been way, way worse.
Yeah. I was happy that we got the win. I have to say, after the first game and I stayed up and they didn't win, I was very like nervous about this whole week. I did check in at times in this game, but I wasn't necessarily watching it, all the way through live. And I'm happy that McMichael got that goal. Mantha just had a hell of a game. Anna, your quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. Of what I'm watched and what I read about, glad to see number 39, coming back into the positive side of the comments from people who, we all did like him. And then all of a sudden he just kind of had his I've hit rock bottom moment and needed to kind of get his shit together, and he did, and we're seeing it.
Yeah. For time, I'm just going to get into the scoring of the next game because I want you guys to actually break it down a little bit further. Anthony Mantha carried over that good momentum from the last game and scored very quickly into this one. Unfortunately, we gave it right back. Both goals happening in the first 2 minutes of the game. Then Brett Leeson scored to make it 2-1. I was like, oh no, here we go again. But Tom Wilson had himself a night. I actually have his jersey featured here tonight. And so Tom Wilson gets his first goal at 15:54. It gets a power play goal off of a nice play by Alex Ovechkin. Ovechkin's 8th assist of the season. John Carlson's 11th assist. This is Tom Wilson's 6th goal of the season. Makes it 3-2. Nick Dowd scores in pretty much the final minute of the first period. Hits his 2nd goal of the season. Sandin gets an assist, his 5th, and Abe Kubel gets his 3rd. And then in the third period, they make it a little bit closer, which is a little bit scary. It makes it 4-3. I have to say I had missed some of the game, so I was rewinding and watching it. And right when I rewound and watched it, I saw a goal update happen against us. So it's like, oh crap! Going back and watching a game while it's live is definitely not good luck. So I stopped doing that. Tom Wilson did score a power play goal to make it 5-3, his 7th this season and his first career hat trick. And assist by Ovi is 9th and John Carlson's 12th. They do get one goal in the final minute to make us a little bit nervous, but we end up winning this game 5-4. I'm gonna get Anna's thoughts first because it's her favorite player, Tom Wilson, getting a hat trick.
It is, as I'm watching him go to the sin bin. Tommy. It's okay. 700 game. I wish, and you know what? I didn't see this, and I was just telling Gil before we came on. It was like I wanted to. I was like, come on, we got to do something. I haven't heard much. I mean, Tommy's been playing well, but not as well as I would like.
He got half his season's goals in that game.
Yeah, there's so I'm like, okay. And then I get up at like 2 a.m. and I check, and it's just like him holding the 3 pucks. Everyone, has like, it's like Tom Wilson at Anna Bergenaux.
I love that Gil. If you're listening, you won't get this joke, but Gil has turned around and is Tom Wilson.
There you go.
In person for us right now.
It's the best. It's the best. And I'm proud of him. And you know what? What I heard from Gil, and I 100% believe it, is that he was on fire that night. He came out and he played exactly how we know Tom Wilson can. And so that was very, very exciting to see. And it's a win that these guys needed. Going into Vegas, I was like, but yeah, this was exciting. I don't know. It was very cool to see all of that the next day. And Mantha, like, good for him.
Yeah.
So,
I want to thank everyone for tuning in real quickly. There's so many people on Twitch. I haven't really shared it to anywhere that I was even going to be live tonight. People just know, and I really appreciate people for joining us. I'm sorry that I wasn't chatting with you. There was a lot of technical things, but thank you to Tanya for joining us, and Carly and CT and Andy and Champ, and there's just so many people over there, and I really appreciate the Twitch audience, even though it can sometimes be a shit show over here. Setting up for the other one.
Good word, Robbie. Good word.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I look up and there's another goal. It's a 3-0 game. Oof.
Ausgang.
So
Ausgang.
Okay, so
Kempa. Ausgang.
Are they gonna pull him?
Yes, they're giving him the hook. They're giving him a hook now.
Holy
3
Yeah.
goals on 5 shots.
Yeah,
Jesus.
You can't have to. You can't if you get 3 goals in less than 6 shots, you got to be pulled immediately. I think it's got to be a roll, right?
Yeah, he's
I had that delay, but
I don't know what's wrong, but
fucking
no, they
A.
cannot stay him in there, and hopefully,
I thought Charlie was still sick, but then they said Hunter went back to Hershey.
yeah,
Well,
Okay.
he's good enough. He's getting on the
Yeah,
ice.
good
I'll
enough
take
now.
it.
So
I feel bad for
hoping.
Darcy, but
Right. Ay.
it's not about liking the
Charlie's record is
players.
5-2 this season. That'll probably go down. But is he the goalie of record if we're down 3-0? How does that work?
So right, so if the Caps come back and tie, or if the Caps come back and get 3 goals, then Darcy's no longer the goalie of record.
Got it. So it's like baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair. The conversations I wish I didn't have to have with Gil. But
No doubt.
My mind just went to a whole. Sorry.
Exactly. All right. So, it was a really great game. I'm super happy for Tom Wilson. Let's get into this next game. I'm very happy for him. 700th game. One last stat about that. Only the second player in NHL history to get a hat trick on his 700th game. So I thought that was kind of a fun stat. I don't think Ovechkin's the other one, but I might be wrong. So I'd be curious to see who the other one was. I tried looking it up, but couldn't figure it out. And
come on.
No, it's all good. And so we've got a game against Vegas that we're going to talk about next. I'm actually going to bring in a good friend of mine, Andrew Tran. So Andrew, you can turn on your camera and mic now. And Andrew's been a friend of mine for a very long time. We've worked at the same school in the past. Andrew has been a coach of hockey in the past as well. He tells me, well, I'll let him tell the story. Andrew, you decided to do this Vegas trip pretty last minute, right? Oh, he's still coming in, I think. Wait, you're still muted on here. Okay. All right, that's fine. Twitch is always super fun. And Zoom and we got all those sorts of different things.
It's all fun.
But I think hold on, let me see it. I think I can. Oh, I don't have it set up on this one. Hold on. I think I can help him by switching to this. And going. All right. Okay, cool. Hold on. Hold on. I think I have to. Now we have 2 of you. How does that work? How the heck? Hold on. Hold on. Can I get him to? All right, let me now unmute real quickly, and I'm going to delete the other one. And then I think now it works. Perfect. We're good. Andrew, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Andrew.
Yes. It's funny that he
Hi.
went through years of distance teaching on Zoom, and then this is what's going to trip us up, right?
Right.
And everyone loves the "you're muted" comment because we didn't have to say that like
Right.
a bazillion
I know. I had a
times during
momentary
COVID.
freak out about that.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, it's all good. Andrew, tell us the story. How did you decide to go to this Vegas game?
So my friends and I have been talking a while about being the right time to go just see a regular season game. And we, as I think Robbie just said, I'm a big hockey fan. I'm a hockey coach too, so the timing just worked out that I didn't have a game I had to coach, and the Caps were playing on a weekend, so flew out west to go see a Vegas game, and unfortunately, it didn't go our way necessarily, and I have a lot of thoughts about that. But I think the biggest thing was just people talk about the experience of the arena sort of experience, right? And I think Vegas does such a good job of that.
Yeah. We were actually, funny enough, joking about the in-game experience last week on the show, not even knowing you were going to go to it, just about how it's kind of like medieval times on ice, and so how was that presentation in real life?
Oh, it was like everything that I hoped it would be. I think the biggest thing was, having been a longtime season ticket holder for the Caps and going to the games. I think what the in-game experience of starting from like the marching band and the ice crew and like the dancers marching around the aria in New York casinos before the games, just to get like season ticket holders and like fans hyped up. And they march through the actual Toshiba Plaza, and they have a stage set up with like a DJ, and they do like the pregame speech and hype up. Like everything is very thoughtfully planned out to get people in their seats before puck drop. I think that's the biggest difference is that the in Caps games no one's there on time, but in Vegas everybody was there on time, ready for the game to go, and that energy when everybody's in their seats, just ready to go, is something that isn't felt in many different arenas with different teams that have been at least on the East Coast that are quote unquote more like traditional. And I think that's what sets in Vegas apart. And having heard that conversation many times about that a professional sports team isn't going to work in Vegas. All of those critics are very wrong about that. That flash and that scale that they have really brings a very unique fan base. And I think it's just awesome to grow a sport in the middle of a desert that typically you wouldn't find in a desert. And I think I'm in the firm belief that growing this awesome sport is sort of done through different means, and I think Vegas really exemplifies that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it's good to hear. It's just sort of interesting to see how different the two kind of desert teams are, like in this arena that we're watching tonight, and then like that, which is like the grandiose thing, and then this is like the smallest possible, like do it at a college stadium situation. Gil, real quickly, you did say you had the other person who I was curious. I'd asked Gil to find out who's the other person who scored a hat trick on his 700th game.
Yes, the player who did that, his name is Phil Goyette. He played
Stop
in the.
it. Did they just score again?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gal.
Jesus saves, but not here. Anyway, he played from 1956 to 1972 for the Canadiens, Rangers, Blues, and Sabres. An interesting side fact about Phil Goyette, he was actually the first ever coach for the New York Islanders. And yes, so he was the only other player to get a hat trick in his 700th career game. He ended up playing 941 career games and scoring over 200 goals. So not a bad player himself.
Yeah. Oh, 4-0.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Somebody, please.
Somebody score.
God.
This is gonna be a fun night. All right. So anywho, the scoring unfortunately in that game started early for us or against us early, I should say. Jonathan Marchessault gets a power play goal. Jack Eichel gets his 10th. They both get their 10th in the second, and
You're
then
gonna make Anna vomit.
and Mark Stone scores early in the third period to make it 3-0 before Tom Wilson continues his hot play of late, get his 8th goal. Dylan Strome, 3rd assist. John Carlson's 13th assist. And then there's an empty net goal by Anna's favorite player. We'll just leave it at that. And yeah. And was it... I honestly did not stay up for this game, so that's why I'm happy to have
and you honestly did not miss a thing.
Yes. So Andrew, what was the feeling in the first? It seemed like it was fairly close. Did we have chances? What was your opinion on the team in the first?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I think it's worth mentioning with the way the team played. Oh my gosh, they just scored again.
Stop it.
No.
Oh,
He's not kidding.
Okay. So I think for me, as of late, I think that the way that Spencer Carberry structures a lot of our offensive zone play doesn't really tailor towards our players that we have now. Given that we didn't have Oshie, we're missing Backstrom. Like we have a lot of, and it's sort of lackadaisical. Kuzi, a lot of what he really wants the players to do is very much puck protection, and it's just not what the team is built for. And so that definitely translated against Vegas, and it was just no transition game that we had against Vegas. I think early on, to be honest, and we were always trying to catch up. But I think this game is also very similar. Just that defensively, we are not holding down that slot, and we're just getting some very easy goals. Like none of the goals that these teams are scoring are what I consider like gritty. They're very like basic, hockey coverage that you start teaching a kid once they start playing full ice. And so, unfortunately, I don't think we should be freaking out yet. But at the same time, what Vegas did so well was that they cycled the puck through, and we just didn't have an answer for that. And I think that would ultimately seal the deal. And it was one of those things where, it was a fun game, I think, for the Vegas fans because it was like pretty high scoring. But as a Caps fan, it was hard to watch given sort of the pace, the lack of urgency, and just no transition. We were just literally trying to make sure that, the dam didn't break in the game. And also we were outshot like 3-1 in that game. And that was, it was tough to watch where like there was just no offense.
Yeah. Wow. I'm happy we had a coach go to the game today.
I was going to say, I'm Andrew. I'm listening. I'm hanging on every word you're saying because I think you verbally captured everything that happened from start to finish with your description just now. That was just, there was no fire, no offense, no flow, no nothing from the guys in white, and Vegas pretty much had their way because they had the pace, they had the skating, they had the stick work, they had everything going their way. So yeah,
they play 60 minutes of hockey.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like I'm just so frustrated. I just still am like, are you fucking kidding me? It's 5-0.
I can't get over it either.
It's like over, like I'm watching it in like above you guys, and I could just, I don't know.
Mercifully, the first period just ended.
Yes, 5-0. Both goalies did approximately about as well as each other. No, the only saving grace is there's such a contingency of Caps fans that love one goalie and hate the other, and now we're seeing about the same results with about the same people in front of them, which has been rare for us. Like
I would imagine all of the sites that we can't stand are going to be like, where's Hunter Shepard? Where's Hunter Shepard?
Yeah.
It's like,
I can guarantee you right now, if we put Hunter Shepard into this game, he would not have fared better.
No.
It's just like, there's no way. Like, it's not.
But it's coming.
It's a lack of defensive effort. And,
it's just a lack of effort.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
all the way across.
Across the board. They didn't come out like they wanted it.
Because we've seen spurts of it through this season where, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about being on a road win streak and, things were going well and we were surprised about how well things were doing. It's hard to know if that's the paper tiger, if this is the, not the true scene. And now the elephant in the room that we got to talk about is Kuzi. He's benched for this game. He's clearly problematic in a lot of games, but he's clearly not the issue, right? Because currently we are not doing better without him. So I'm going to go around the room and say, what do we do? How do we correct this? I'm going to start with you, Andrew. It's a tough situation, but you're you've been a coach. You've, seen goalies, you've seen situational things like this, defenses. And what are your thoughts on doing so well in some games? And then basically, if we score more than 2 goals, we've won almost every game.
Yeah.
But if we don't, we lose almost every game. And I don't know how we can continue to play that way.
I think just sort of on the topic of pulling goalies, like that's probably like one of the toughest decisions to do as a coach. And you always do it if you know that your team's going to wake up after that. And it's not necessarily that when you pull a goalie because that goalie that you're putting in has not warmed up yet. And that's a risk in itself. And I think it's shown with Lindgren right now in that he's clearly hasn't had the same level of practice the past few days as Kemper. But again, the team left Kemper out to dry. So usually you pull a goalie to make a statement like that. And unfortunately, clearly the team did not respond to that the way that I think the coaching staff really wanted to. I think correcting the course is just coming back to MedStar and getting down and having, you'll watch film and then just having an honest conversation about the things that we're talking about. They're very hard to correct on the road though, just because you have time. Many of these players are away from their families and stuff. I'm always very pessimistic about and optimistic at the same time. We're about a quarter of the way through the season, so there's a lot of time, right? And it was very easy at the early stages of the season to freak out after the home opener against Pittsburgh didn't go so well, right? We've had some of these really, really bad games that are sort of atypical from a season. And so I think, one of the things that the team really needs to look at, not this year, but really for next year is defensively, what are we looking at? We're trying to develop offense from a defensive core, but clearly that's not really working right now because we don't have much in our power play. We also don't have much on 5-on-5 play either. We're trying to puck protect, but we don't cycle the puck. And I think that's things that I think are all on this list, for a rookie coach. There's a lot of things there isn't a clear system that. We talk about systems a lot as coaches. What is the team going to buy into? I don't think the team has bought into anything. And that's why this is sort of the telltale result of that. They don't know what the coaches want from the players. And so every game seems to be different.
Yeah, it's just such a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde scenario. They're punching above their weight some weeks and then just not playing particularly well against some of the teams that I don't think are of that same echelon. And it's hard to tell. My dad's trying to break up the Caps, in chat. So I don't know what the answer is because, we're trying to infuse young talent. We're trying to have different coaches, trying to have different approaches. It's going to take some time to rebuild, but it's very frustrating. Anna, what are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think I'm always going to come back to those C words, and I'm going to keep it clean. But consistency and chemistry seem to be the two things that we are lacking. And, even if it's, if a player is injured, okay, but we're just not seeing that chemistry that we're used to. And when we're not so stressed and in our heads and in a negative headspace, is when we're on that streak of winning and everyone's, loving on each other. And you see the coach in when he speaks in the locker room to acknowledge players that, kicked ass that night and whatever. It's genuine. You can feel he genuinely is proud of those boys, that's what it is. We haven't seen what happens on the other end. What is it that he's saying to get these guys to really want to come out and play hard? I don't know what he does. Part of me will say that I kind of appreciate the fact that there's a little bit more of a player respect approach to benching Kuzi. Hey, we're all adults. He's been doing this for a while. We don't need to be bench, scream at him, whatever. It's hey, you have a mental reset. Okay, that speaks volumes. Just those two words alone, are huge in my opinion. It speaks more than just, he's not trying, it's something else is going on. I think the same thing with Kemper. Not that we're going to bench him, but I think that he needs a mental reset and people need to rally behind him for that. but I don't know. I mean, I think if we're heading back to DC, close practices, they need to just shut that shit down and just be with each other and get back to, the chemistry that we know the vets and the newer players can have. We just haven't seen it consistently yet.
Yeah. Gil, some of your quick thoughts.
Well, so building on Andrew's point, basically what we're seeing is a team that is still trying to figure out who they are. He mentioned not having a system, and but in addition to that, they don't have an identity. They used to be known as a team that would forecheck you into oblivion and take away the puck and hit you and do whatever's necessary to impose their will. They don't really do that anymore. Years and years of injuries have taken their toll. Age has taken its toll. They're not those guys anymore. They're still trying to figure out who they are. They got some infusion of youth that has some talent, but unfortunately, we're still stuck in a year where that learning curve is, going this direction. And I think,
and don't you think that people keep bringing up 2018? And
right.
Listen, we all are not the same person we were 5 years ago.
No.
And I think, and that's what drives me crazy is oh, well, Kuzi in 2018, right. But we're in 2023, 24. He's got 5 extra years plus all the games. So stop bringing that up.
Yeah, I think people still have that in the back of their minds, and they're still expecting that team to show up every night. They're long gone.
Yeah,
they're not there anymore. This is a transitional year. They're still trying to figure out who they are and what they can do. There are good ways there already, thank goodness, but they still have some learning to do, and so is this coaching staff. And you're seeing a lot of good things, but you're still seeing a lot of bad things, obviously. So
yeah, we're running out of time. I'm excited because we're gonna get a special guest in a second, who's a really awesome Commanders YouTuber. So with the last couple of minutes I have, I wanted to get Andrew's last thoughts on going to the game, and then I want to get Gil's thoughts on one quick question before we get out of the hockey segment. But Andrew, any final thoughts on going? I know you got to see the minor league team too. Did you still think it was a good experience getting to go out there?
Oh, it was great, and to see the number and to hang out with a crazy number of Caps fans that actually flew out. I learned how easy it is to get from BWI to Vegas with Frontier of Spirit.
Yep.
But yeah, there's so many Caps fans. You wouldn't believe the number of fans that you would see there, and just to commiserate whether we won or not. After and before the game was just awesome, and I think it's worth going if you're able to, just not just to Vegas but to other arenas and stuff. It's always nice to support the team that's away. So it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, that's good.
Great.
I have gotten to go to 2 away games. I loved both of them. We did win a Philly game on the road in the playoffs that I got to go to when I was in college. Unfortunately, lost in Madison Square Garden, but my cousins have really nice tickets, so at least I got to catch a game, which was definitely on my bucket list to check out that arena because it's legendary. I'm happy that you got to have a good time and you got to see the minor league affiliate. I wish we had more time to go into all of that detail, but I appreciate you for coming on. You're always welcome to be a part of this team and talk Caps with us, and
hell yeah,
getting a coach's perspective. So I hope that you have a good rest of your.
I have to say this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to say that it is great to see a fellow Asian American repping the sport of ice hockey. Good on you, Andrew. Good on you.
Yes, it's true, and he's a great coach too. So I know that
I can tell.
Respects it, and
he knows what he's talking about. I can tell.
How far are you into the season, Andrew? Or how's your team doing?
Oh, we just started, so we actually I actually coached a game on Friday. Probably a pretty good coached game. We were down 4 or 5 goals, but we came back 5 unanswered to take the win. And then it was all blurred because I got on a plane after that to head to Vegas. So it's been hockey. We had practice today, and then more hockey.
And you flew back
tomorrow.
The red eye, right? Last night? to get here
Just for
to then,
practice.
and then they got to practice on time and then came on this show, which is more hockey. So I'm
Yep.
sorry
And
the
then
Caps
tomorrow is
suck.
another game.
Bravo.
Yeah. Hockey's
Very
life, man.
impressive.
That's
So
awesome.
at least we were more entertaining than watching that first period, by
Oh,
yourself.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate you
Gosh.
joining us. We often don't have a lot of Monday games, so you can always come on and not have that horrible scenario. But I appreciate your time, Andrew, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch up. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Anytime.
take care.
Take
Take
care.
care.
All right, real quickly, and I'll even bring Rio into this conversation as well, because I'm sure with being a sports fan, he has his own superstitions and beliefs, and and fandom and stuff like that. You have to at some point, being a Commanders fan. But first of all, Rio, how are you doing tonight?
Doing lovely. How y'all doing, man?
We're doing great. So people don't know, Rio does a great YouTube channel about the Commanders and is a diehard fan of them. I don't know. I've never talked to you about this. Do you follow any of the other DC sports teams?
Oh, I follow all the DC sports team. I follow the Wizards, probably the second most closest, which is a mistake because they're a terrible product that's put on television, and nobody should be forced through 2.5 hours of Wizards.
The last segment of the show.
and that's still too much of a segment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I feel that sometimes. For
I don't
sure.
know. This 5-0 isn't really looking too hot.
Yeah,
for me.
it's not giving us a good representation. I don't know. Did you follow that 2018 run for the Capitals?
I followed the Capitals and I followed the Nats, but I'm more so like for those teams, I'm more fair weather. Like when the Nats had a squad, I was watching all the games. I was attending 30 something games a year, stuff like that. I definitely followed the Caps run and the Nats run. I was at both parades. It was great. And now DC, it's just all bad in the city right now.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. So with that being said, our old coach, went to the Rangers for the Caps old coach, and we're playing them on Saturday. And so the upcoming games, I'm not going to get into the first game into too much, but I did want to get a quick thought on the upcoming games real quickly from this team, and then we're going to move on into some football talk. We've got the Dallas on December the 7th, which I care less about, but the game on Saturday on the 9th is on my birthday. And so I've been debating, do I go? Whenever I go and they win, it's the best birthday. Whenever I go and they lose, it's the worst birthday, right? So I'm very bad at like separating how my birthday goes from how the Caps do. I've gotten to see a bunch of Caps games on my birthday. I'm fortunate that way, but they've not all gone my way. And sometimes we've shut out teams 3-0. Sometimes we've been shut out 3-0. Last year we had a nice win. And the Rangers have been good this year, and they have our old coach who clearly knows our talent and our team. So here are the options, and I've already posed it to Gil ahead of time, but I'm going to get all three of your thoughts on it. Do I go and suck it up and just get like nosebleed tickets, not super expensive ones, and just hope for the best and get a babysitter? Do I watch it at home with my kids and my wife, and we don't make a big deal of it and just do that? Or do we go and do dinner somewhere else and I don't tie my birthday to the Capitals winning or losing at all, right? So those are kind of, as I see it, the three options. I was thinking about throwing a party at my house, but that's a lot of work on my wife. Don't really want to do that, especially because the Caps could still lose, right? So, so with that being said, I'll ask each one of you guys, do you think I should go, watch at home, or have dinner out with the wife? Those are the three picks. I'm gonna start off with Anna. What we also all went to a game that we kind of declared as the birthday game a couple weeks ago and we won because I was more nervous about this one, and also I wasn't gonna get a babysitter originally, but now I'm reconsidering. But Anna, with all of that information, what do you think I should do?
Oh man. You know what? If I felt like we were going to be healthy and we were going to like not have this horrific game of down 5 in the first period, I'd be like, hell yeah, nosebleed, whatever you want to do. I'm almost kind of pulling for the dinner with Liz, no kiddos, and not even on this. You're just no. Have your birthday, celebrate you, have a good time. You guys look like you always enjoy like awesome meals and stuff. I would just say ride that out and don't let this team determine whether it's a good or a bad birthday.
Yeah. All right, Gil, I'm going to ask you next. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it. I just sent you a link. You and I discussed this already in Messenger, and I'm going to help you decide. But if it were me, I would see. Well, I'm kind of with Anna on this one. Spend some time with the family and make it a special day for all of them. Share it with all of them, and it'd be great to go to a game, but you know, if you can't decide, I got you.
I love Gil because Gil made me a picker, like a spinner that has all the different options that I'll click. I'll click it at the end. I'm gonna get Rio's thoughts real quickly.
That's hilarious.
Before I spin the wheel. But Rio, what do you think I should do?
Knowing myself, I'm gonna use some Washington Commanders football team skins PTSD. It never goes well when you try to ascertain your schedule to the team. You know, they're gonna probably disappoint you. Have a good day. You know, we like to make everything we do synonymous with our sports team. Enjoy your birthday. Don't let the team let you down on your birthday. Go with the missus to dinner, my guy.
Everyone, Liz just walked in the room, so she's listening to this, which I think is hilarious. I'm going to spin the wheel. Let's see. So far, all three have said dinner. So let's made a wheel. So we're gonna spin the wheel and see if the wheel also says dinner. Yeah, exactly. And no joke.
Yeah.
It's a sleep, so we'll do that, and so that'll be the answer. And I'll watch the DVR. We'll have to figure out where. But all right. Well, thank you for helping me with that segment. That's in lieu of us previewing the week ahead for the Caps. People can watch our recap next week. Next week will be a birthday special. It'll be a fun show on Twitch. Anna and Gil are going to join me again. We're going to talk about this week. Hopefully the rest of the games go better than this game. We will probably, unfortunately, have to recap some of this. But Anna, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this team.
I love it.
See you next week.
Yes, absolutely. And have a great rest of the show. And I don't know. I think I'm just gonna peace out on this game. I don't think
I don't think we're coming back 5-0 even with 2
higher.
periods left. I think you could probably safely go to sleep. So
I think so too. And I gotta be happy for my
and if it's an epic comeback, we'll watch the YouTube, you know?
And my phone will blow up and they'll be like, what were you thinking? I'll be like, what were you thinking? Continue watching the game.
Exactly.
So, all right. Awesome. Have a great rest of the show. At some point we will talk about that Niner game, but maybe next time.
Yeah, no. Congratulations on the Niners. No doubt. She's a big Niners fan. And I always love any team that can beat the Eagles. And especially when the Eagles are trying to cheat with a security guard,
Dawn. Dawn. My brother was like, all right, stop. And I was like, no, this is why I can't go to other stadiums because I can't be appropriate.
Right.
Who is injured? Okay, I'm gonna go because now I'm getting all fired up.
Protus is down. He's down inside
getting better.
The offensive zone.
Yeah. Oof.
He took a slap shot. I want to say in his knee. Looks like maybe his chest.
Replay. Oh.
And he's just now getting to his feet.
And he's a big boy.
But he's making it to the bench on his own power, but he's laboring really badly.
Oof. Into his chest or face or something. Oof.
Good God. Okay. Not how I wanted to end the show, but Robbie, can't wait to hear about how the Fantastic with your beautiful wife goes on Saturday. Everybody else enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you so much, Anna. We'll
talk
to you.
Take care.
Good night, Anna.
Good night.
Last little quick thing. Give a quick shout out on what's on the Power Play Point podcast this week.
So it's a kind of a special episode. It's a double episode of sorts. We go over the 4 games that took place in the past week's worth. Kind of like what we did here, sort of, but a little bit more detail in each. And it's the quarter poll, the 20 games plus. So we're at the quarter of the season mark. We usually do some sort of evaluation. So it's C4 and I, Cheryl Ann Forster. We go over, the Caps doing so far, what's going well, what's not going so well. It's a bit long, quite a bit longer than what we usually do, but a lot of good stuff in there, I think. So if you haven't had a chance, download it, listen to us, give us a like, tell us what you think. And as always, if you want to be on the show, have your say, literally, get a hold of us, and we'll have you on. We make the Caps fan the star.
Yep, I just did a shout out there. Unfortunately, I can't put links in my Facebook ones right now, or they say I'm spam. But if you want to go to sportsothp.com, click on the podcast partners link. The Power Play Point podcast is there. Also, it'll be in the show notes, and it'll be on the YouTube and all the links after the fact. But definitely go check out Power Play Point podcast. C4 is great. Gil's great. We'll have Gil back on next week for the birthday podcast. And Gil, hopefully this game goes a little better, or I hope that you get to go to sleep early tonight. But we will talk to you next week.
Spam, sizzle pork, and yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Robbie. Good night.
Good night. All right.